Okay, for part 2 of this lesson, we're going to look at our simplifying and distributed properties. So let's start with our vocabulary. We're going to simplify. We can do that two ways. We can combine like terms. Remember, those are same variable and same exponent. And we can also do some distributive property if there is some in that problem. So we're just trying to make things more simplified, shorter, easier to read, easier to understand. So let's do an example of distributive property. 2 times the quantity x plus 3. So with distributive property, you can take the number on the outside, and it gets multiplied by each term on the inside. 2 times x, and then 2 times positive 3, because that sign goes with that second with the second term there, the constant. So plus 3. So if we do that, 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times a positive 3 is a positive, so plus for positive 6. All right, so now we're going to look at some examples. So we're going to go down to number 7. Simplify by combining like terms. All right, so I can see that these both have just an m with no exponent, so those are like terms. So we're going to combine by adding or subtracting. So I have a positive 16 and a negative 4. So 16 plus negative 4 is 12, and then your variable stays the same, so 12m. Number 8, we got a 6y and a negative 2y. We also have an x, which remember, that's really a 1x if there's no coefficient there. And I have a 4x as well. So let's start with the x terms. I've got a 1x and a 4x makes 5x, because 1 plus 4 is 5. And then the y-like terms, 6y minus 2y. 6 minus 2 is a positive 4y. And if you have this the other way around, 4y plus 5x, it's the same thing. But technically, if for standard form, we want it to be alphabetical, so x first and then y. Now we're going to do some distributive property. So we're going to take this negative 6 times x is negative 6x. Negative 6 times 5 is a negative, so minus for negative, 30. Number 10, same thing even though the 7's on the other side. 7 times m is 7m. And 7 times negative 3 is a negative, again, so minus for negative, 21. For the next two, we're going to do both. So I've got distributive property here. So I'm going to do that first before I work on like terms, because that x is stuck inside of the parentheses. We got to get that out of there. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1 is a positive 2. And then we stop multiplying because that's the end of those parentheses right there. So we're just going to drop down that plus x on the outside. But now I've got some like terms. I've got a 2x and an x, which, remember again, that's really a 1x. So I can combine those. 2x plus 1x is 3x, and then bring down the plus 2. And for the last one, before I start, I'm going to change this into adding the opposite, so we can see that that's a negative 3. I'm just going to drop down that 4 because that is not part of distributive property. Negative 3 times y is negative or minus 3y. Negative 3 times 8 is negative or minus 24. And then we can look at those like terms. It's actually the constants this time. So 4 and negative 24, the constants are like terms because they have no variable. So I can combine those together. And that's going to be negative 20. And then I'm just going to bring down my minus 3y. And again, for standard form, we want it alphabetical with constants at the end. So that's the same thing as negative 3y minus 20. So then for our summary, we're just going to make a note that we should do distributive property first. And then combine any like terms if there are some.